Hello, Flosstube. This is Stitching with Sandy, and I'm Sandy. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and if you're returning, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. I truly do appreciate it. Today is Flosstube number 44, and this is September 6th, 2023. And today I'm excited to share a few FFOs with you, but before I get to that, I want to give you a quick life update. Not a whole lot's happened. My students were into the 19th day of school, so my students are now on the routines and they're following our schedule, which is great. They know what to do. It's great because now the learning can start because they know exactly what to do in transitioning and getting through the day. And we have less criers now, so that's always a positive. Other than that, the only other major update that I have is one of my twins, Marissa. She had to go in. She had a tooth that was in her front tooth that in second grade she had pulled because they thought the baby tooth was blocking the adult tooth from coming down. So they pulled her baby tooth, and we would go every 3 months, get x-rays to see the process, and the adult tooth wasn't coming down. Well, to make a long story short, because it is a very long story and frustrating too, she's now 13 and the tooth hadn't come in, so we decided to see a different dentist. And when he looked at the x-ray, he said she needed to have a special procedure where they attach a bracket to her tooth with a chain, and then they attach it to braces, and then as they adjust the braces, it pulls the tooth and the tooth finally will come down. So we went to the orthodontist and got braces put on, which is kind of funny because she has very straight teeth. So to have braces when you don't have crooked teeth is a little maddening, especially to her. But we did, and when they did a special panoramic x-ray, they determined there was something on her adult tooth that was still up under the gums, and they sent us to a surgeon. And the surgeon had to do a 3D x-ray, and he determined she had a tumor on her tooth, both on the front and underneath the palate attached to the jawbone. So we had to have surgery to have that removed. He said he was pretty sure it was benign, but they would send it to pathology just to make sure. But he said it was just a lot of tooth matter that can sometimes happen with development as your body's developing, and that can happen. And so they go in there and they drill it out, they clean it out, and then attach the bracket, and then the bracket will pull them down. And because the tumor is what stopped her tooth from coming down, he believes that instead of it taking a year to 2 years to pull the tooth down, he believes it'll be here by December. So we're hoping that'll be our Christmas present after all these years of challenging. With that being said, she had this surgery on Friday, and overall the surgery went well. They were able to remove the tumor. They found a cyst behind it. They removed that as well. All of that's going to pathology. They attached the bracket and it's ready to go. She goes to her post-op visit on Friday, and all of that's positive. However, I was terrified about the anesthesia because she's never had anesthesia before, and I had a really good reason to be. She ended up having some spasms in her throat. I can't pronounce them correctly, so I'm not even going to try. But she also has, apparently the doctor said she has really large tonsils, a really large uvula. They said sticky saliva, and that the combination between the two, when they were trying to put her under 100% anesthesia, she couldn't breathe. Her airway was cut off. So they had to reverse the procedure for anesthesia to 30%, and then they had to go in suction because she was aspirating. So it was very scary. The thought of losing my daughter over a tooth just blows my mind, and all I can say is hug your children, give them lots of love, because you never know when something happens when you're doing something that's supposed to be a routine visit. So that was very difficult, but knowing that she's on the road to recovery now, and that tooth is going to be coming down soon, makes all the heartache a little less difficult to handle. So that's what I've been up to. So I will show you what stitching I have got completed. Also, I have also been doing a paid project, which I've mailed back last week. So that took up a lot of my time, and I can't share it with you because it's not released yet. But when it's released, I will share it with you. But I'm going to tell you, it's a Luminous Fiber Arts piece, and it's super cute. And when it comes out, you guys are going to love it. So I did do that. So that's pretty much my life update. So let's get to FFOs because I'm very excited to share them with you. All right, so first of all, when I was in the surgery waiting room, waiting on my daughter, I had decided I was going to take cross stitch that made me think of her. And last year, she was looking through some designs for her ornament, and I want to stitch an ornament for 18 years for all 5 of my children so that as adults they can decorate their own tree ahead of time until they get enough ornaments of their own, and hopefully they'll cherish them as much as I do and how much I enjoy making them. But she had picked out a flamingo. She likes flamingos, and she had picked out a flamingo stitch from Hands On Design. So that is what I worked on the entire time she was in the surgery. And then right afterwards, when we were home and she was recovering and sleeping a lot, I was sitting very close to her and feeling helpless because everything I suggested for help, she said, no, I'm okay. And down to, let's watch a show. And she couldn't find anything to watch because she was just out of it. So I felt helpless, so I kept stitching. So stitching really has made a difference this last couple of weeks. But this is the ornament, and this is called Flamingo by Hands On Design. And Marissa loves flamingos, but she's not huge into pink. So when it came to doing the trim, she picked out the trim, and it's rickrack, and she picked out the bow with the bell. And then on the back, I stitched her name and this year, because this is the ornament for this year. And I have to say, I did hand stitch the entire thing together, which normally is not a problem, but I had never hand stitched rickrack inside. So to sandwich in between, I went through and did like a base stitch through the points that are on the inside. So here's your rickrack point here. You know that there's one in here. So I tacked down each one of those points all the way around. And then I had the 2 mat boards. And so what I did is I would take a pinch here, go through the rickrack to the other side, come back out, go back in through the fabric. So you're picking up tiny little pinch of fabric and going through, and as you pull it tight, it pulls the boards together and then of course secures the rickrack. Now when you're doing that, don't forget that you also have to tack down your hanger. I don't like to put the hangers on the top and just stitch them down because my kids are rough on the tree. Even though she's 13, they still want to pull. And I've had ornaments in the past where if you just tack them down right here, they come off, and I don't want to have to repair them later down the line. So I stitched it, tacked it down inside before I put them together. And then I sewed the bow on afterwards. So it came out really cute. Marissa loves it, and now she's like, well, you should stitch the next one for me, because when you have 5 kids, you mean well when they come. And the first one has scrapbooking, I think, until he's in 5th grade. The second one, he has scrapbooking till maybe 2nd or 3rd grade. The third one came when there's a scrapbook, but there's no pictures in it for his first year. And then when the twins came, I think somebody put together a scrapbook for me, but we never actually put pictures in it either. I did take a ton of pictures, but yeah. And then my other 3 kids, the boys, they all have a baby's first Christmas. The girls don't. So I'm going backwards, but as long as I get it done before they move out, we're good, right? Let's hope so. All right, so that's my first finish. The second finish I showed as an FO last time, and it was Little Miss Sunshine. And I finished it off on this little standing piece. Now this piece I picked up at Big Lots. I don't know if you've ever thought about looking for finishes there, but it was like $5.99, and I think it was 50% off of that. And it has like a little saying on here, and this part of the trim here and here, and then on the side was a gray. So all I did was I got some brown paint and I just painted right over it. And it took me 2 coats to make sure that it was not, so that would cover it all. And then I kind of scuffed it up a little bit to look a little bit aged. And then I laced the back of my piece on some mat board, and then I just put the mat board, I just attached the mat board to the wood piece with some hot glue and just stuck it right on there. So now it can sit on my shelf. I just love this so much. I had so much fun stitching it. I only changed a couple of colors. I changed and put a red in instead of, it was like a rust color and I didn't really care for it. So I changed that. And then the green, I think I did a darker green than what they had there as well. But other than that, that's all the changes I made. And now I can set it out for this month. I like to decorate with sunflowers in the month of September. So hopefully by my next video, you'll see an opener that will have lots of sunflowers in it. And then my big piece, I'm so excited about this piece. I also bought this frame at Big Lots, and I finished. So if you have been following me, I did a sale with Nancy Haber, one of the bougie stitchers, and we decided to do a Halloween stitch together, and we picked it out together like this. She said, let's do a Halloween stitch. I said, okay, what should we do? And she said, well, why don't you pick some designers out that you're interested in stitching and then let me know. So I picked out Puntini. I hadn't stitched anything by her. And then I also picked out Barbara Anna. And then I sent her the 2 names, and then she went in and picked out which Halloween pattern we were going to stitch. And so that's how we came up with what we were going to do. And then we started. And we wanted to have it done by last year's Halloween, and it didn't quite happen. But this year, it's finished. She just finished hers too, so I know she'll be FFOing hers very soon too. But here is mine, and I'm going to try not to have too much of a glare. But I found this frame at Big Lots, and it was like a light gray, kind of similar to the fabric, and I knew I wanted a black, thicker frame, so I just took some black chalk paint and painted right over it. And it does have a little bit of texture to it on the frame. And I love that it had this arch so that the moon and the witch still are caught into the frame. So I'm very happy with this finish. I'll hold it back a little bit. So happy. This is called Happy Halloween by Puntini. And I just loved it. This is stitched on a 14 count fabric flare, and I think it's Stormy Gray. I believe that's what color it was. I love it so much. I can't even tell you. It's going to be fun to hang up in my Halloween decor this year. So I just, it's so pretty. This frame is perfect for it. I was struggling to figure out how I was going to finish it, and we happened to be out. We went to a couple of thrift shops, and we went to antique shop, and we couldn't find any pieces, which sometimes we score big time and other times we go and find nothing. We didn't. My husband had to get gas, and I happened to see Big Lots, and we used to visit it a lot, and then I was like, maybe they'll have something there. And so I begged him to take me in, and we went in, and I found both of those pieces. So that was a very major score for me. So I'm very happy about that. So those are my FFOs. I do have a couple finishes of things that I did. One thing I wanted to show you, I'm hoping to do, I saw my friend Debbie, she was stitching a Prairie Schooler Santa, and she had finished it and she turned it into a pillow, and then she made this beautiful border for her finishing. And so I begged her to show me how to do it. And we had a stitch in at Grand Country Quilts at the end of last month, and she was there, and I brought everything I needed to to see her so she could teach me how to do it. So I'm going to show you. So I wanted to, she made, look at this border. It's like crocheted border. And so what she said to do was that I told her, well, what can I do? I don't have any finished cross stitch right now, but I don't want to practice on a cross stitch. I want to practice somehow another way. So she said, go ahead and put together a little pillow and then blanket stitch all the way around the outside. That'll be what you're going to attach your crocheting to. And I'm not a crocheter. I try, I can follow tutorials, but if you ask me what one stitch to another stitch is, I couldn't tell you. So I had this scrap fabric for Halloween. It's a little spider. Oops. Sorry. It's a little spider with a spider web. And so I quickly stitched it up, put it together, and I did a really messy blanket stitch, so don't mind me. I wanted to get it done fast enough before we had to be there. And then I went there, she showed me how to do this, and by the time I left there, I had already finished. So be looking for this finish on a cross stitch now that I know how to do it. And it really was a lot easier than it looks. So thank you, Debbie, if you're watching, and to everybody else, wait to see what it comes out on. The other thing is, now that I've done this pillow, when I put out my Halloween smalls, I can just toss this in there with it, and it's like an added decoration. So I'm very pleased both ways of it. And then on Tuesday, we were supposed to do it on the weekend. Sarah from Sarah Stitches and I had talked about making something as gifts for people we work with at Christmas time, and we were both saying we would like to make mug rugs because then you can wrap it up. I can put together for my parent volunteers a little mug rug, and either a gift card to Starbucks or something like that, or maybe some tea, wrap it all up, and that'd be a thank you gift for helping. And so we watched a whole bunch of tutorials on mug rugs, and yesterday, on Tuesday, we decided to try it out. We followed the tutorial from Arndt, and I will link it below so that you can go and try it too if you're interested in. But it's all with scraps, and here's my mug rug. I think it turned out great, don't you? Okay, so this side was supposed to be a scrappy side, and then this is like your plain side. And so I just grabbed a bunch of fabric that were kind of along the same color scheme, even though the backgrounds are different colors. I was going for this pretty pinkish red, and it had a little bit in all of my my fabrics, and then I put it together, and I did the binding. That was a challenge. I've been putting off doing the binding on a quilt that I had long-armed from a friend, and because I was afraid to try it, but I did it and it turned out fine. Now the only thing that I do know for next time is down in my bobbin, I'll make sure it's the color of the back of my fabric, because as you can see all my quilting, and I'm not ashamed because this is my try it out, see how it turns out. But next time in the bobbin, I'll put this color, whatever the fabric is on the back, on the bobbin. So that way the back will be quilted, but you won't see all these stitches. But I don't think I did so bad for my first try. I was happy with the white on the top. I just probably should have done a color on the back. But so you never know until you try, right? All right, so those are all my finishes that I have to share with you. I do have, and I did finish, like I said, I finished a model piece, but I can't show you it. One, it's not here anymore, and two, it's a surprise. All right, so the next thing is I got a lot of feedback on my first stitchy tip last time. I'm so glad you enjoyed the color video. I was hoping that what I was thinking in my brain was coming out in words that made sense to you, the viewer. So I'm thankful and grateful to all of you who wrote back and said thanks for the tip, and I hope that it helps you. One other thing I might suggest in color is if there's something that you want to put colors together, look at fabrics and what colors are in them, different prints that you love. You can look up color palettes, and they have color palettes online where you can find different color palettes and then pick 2 or 3 off of that palette. You don't have to try all of them unless you really want to, but those are other ways that you can be inspired. I know when I was scrapbooking, sometimes I would look at different printed papers that I was using for backgrounds, and I'd pull the colors out of there for more solid pieces in the front. So try that for color. But today's stitchy tip is one, it was very difficult to record. I'm going to tell you, I do not have specialty cameras. All I have is my cell phone. That's all I have. And so I wanted to show you how to do white stitches, or at least how I tackle white stitches. One of the things I do railroad, and I'll show that in the video, but another thing that I do is drop the needle. I'm going to show you the video, but before I do, I want to make sure you understand what dropping the needle was, because when I turned my piece over to show you that, the space between the magnifier and my lap was very short, and we were using my cell phone to videotape it, and so I couldn't have it dangle. So what you would do is you would take your stitching, and I'm gonna show my daughter's ornament. You're stitching along, okay? When you drop the needle, and it'll make sense when you watch the video. When you drop the needle, you're basically either dropping it from the back and letting it dangle so that the floss is unwinding itself. You can also drop it from the front. Now make sure your needle is not this close to the edge, because then the needle will fall off. But as long as it's up a little bit from your tail, it won't. And then when it's done unraveling, pull it from the, whether it's the front or the back, pull it down, grab a hold of your needle, and you can go right back to stitching. So I'm going to insert that video here so you can see me doing it with my white stitches, and I hope that this stitchy tip will help you have cleaner, nicer looking white stitches. So I'm going to insert that video right here. Hello friends, this is Sandy with your next stitchy tip. Today I wanted to talk about stitching with white threads. First of all, there's the misconception that white thread must be made different than all the other threads. I disagree. After 20 years of model stitching, I think it's exactly the same as the other threads, made the same way. The only difference is your white is a much bolder color, so everything you do in your stitching shows up more in white. So I'm going to show you what I do to try to make it less messy. So first of all, as you can see how I'm holding my thread, I'm ready to cross the top layer. I railroad by going and splitting right through the middle of those two strands. Okay, so I'll come up and I'll go under, in through the two strands, and then down in my stitch. Okay, and then I'll come back up again, and I'll pull, and I'll look for the hole. If I can see the hole, I keep going. And what I mean by hole is between the threads. Now, if I'm stitching, and all of a sudden, because it happens as you're stitching along, all of a sudden, you can't see where it splits. And so the one thing I learned from Pat Carson is when that happens, the best thing to do is drop your needle. And what I mean by that is, as you can see, it's turning to twist now. You could do it when it's on top, or you can do it on the bottom. And what you do is you turn and you drop your needle. And I'm doing my best to show you on my camera because I don't have. But you drop your needle, then you pull it straight, pick your needle back up, and it should come back and be able to be untwisted. And then you can go right back to stitching, right railroading. And then I do that back and forth. So I'll do one more row for you to show, and I'll go through and stitch. And then we're doing it at an angle. I've been having a really hard time figuring out how to film this since I don't have any specialty cameras or anything to show you this. So I'm doing the best I can using my cell phone. And what I'll do is when I'm done with this row, I am going to turn it towards the phone's camera so that you can see how nice and neat my stitches end up looking. And I railroad in both white and other colors too, just because I want my stitches to lay flat. So as you can see, I'm railroading and it twists. Sometimes it twists. I know that Vanna Pfeiffer, she uses a different method of making sure it doesn't twist by moving her needle up and down this way and never turning it. I can't get the rhythm of that, so you really have to do what works for you. And as you can see, this is what works for me. And for those of you who wanted to know how I stitch, you can see I stitch with my left hand on top and my right hand on the bottom. All right, so let's take a look at those stitches. So what I do, you can see how nice and neat they look. Sometimes if I don't like how something's, I'm gonna just pop it up here and show you. If I think that it looks messy, I might go and wiggle some stitches with my needle just by rubbing them. That'll help the bottom layer lay a little flatter. I don't railroad on the bottom stitch, but some people do. They feel it lays flatter. But I feel like you can straighten them out just with your needle if you're wanting to. But as you can see, I think my white stitches came out really nice. So I hope between railroading and dropping your needle that you'll be able to find white stitches a little easier to stitch. I hope you have a great day. Bye. All right, does it make sense? Please give me feedback. I know that it was off to the side on the corner, but that was because I was trying to get my husband to videotape it, what I was doing, but I was looking through a magnifier. Now, my eyes are not super great as they used to be, and so I use a magnifier 10 times magnification when I'm sitting here in my chair. And then when I go places, I have my glasses on, and then I'm using a 2.5 times magnification. So we were just trying to get a good view where the stitches will look a lot larger, but that you could still see what I was doing. So I hope that helped. Please give feedback. I know at part of the time it seemed like it was off to the corner, but he was trying really hard to follow me, and when I moved, it kind of made it difficult for him. But I think there was enough view that you can see what I was doing, and hopefully that will help you in the future when you're stitching. So that's my stitchy tip. Let's go on to my Spooky Sal update. So all of the emails went out. If you emailed me and I got your email and I replied back, gotcha, on the list, then I mailed out on September 2nd. That was because on September 1st, my daughter's surgery was happening, and so I couldn't leave her side and really didn't want to leave her side since it was so traumatic. So on the 2nd, I did mail out everybody's recipient of who they're mailing to. And I just want to remind you to make sure that you mail it out by the 1st of October. And before you mail it, take a picture of it and send it to me. And when you receive yours, take a picture of it and send it to me. What I do is I choose like the best picture, and I'm not judging anyone on their picture, but I choose the best picture of it and I include it here in the Flosstube so that others can enjoy your beautiful work. And it's my way of seeing like, oh yes, so-and-so mailed this out. This is what it looked like, so that I can be on the lookout for it. And if something happens, I can relay messages back and forth between the people involved. So please let me know if when you receive yours. I can't wait to share with everyone. And then, let's see. I'm working on, I'm going to show you my whips. And in my whips will be the Sal I've been working on. I'll show you my progress. So far on my whips, I'm working on Souvenirs of the Heart, Autumn in Amana by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. I just got this. I think I got this one at, I got it I think from Cobweb Corner. Yes, I did. Cobweb Corner is an online shop, and I bought it from her when I ordered something else. And this is, we're having a retreat coming up in SoCal Stitchers Retreat this month, and we have to do a swap, and I decided to go with fall because that way if somebody chooses mine and they don't celebrate Halloween, then they have this piece and they can put in their home. But here's my tip. If you're doing a small and you're doing swaps, I do them twice, 2 at a time, because so many times I did a swap and then wished I did it, and then I always say, oh, I'll do it later for myself, and I never do. So I'm going to show you how I do it. So what I do, here it is. Here's the most progress. That's just the border at the bottom. I did just start as my morning stitch. So what I do is when I got this color for the little stem, I stitched the stem on here, and then I moved over and I stitched it on this side. And while I was on this side, then I changed colors. I did all the leaves. Then I moved back over to this one, did all the leaves. Then I switched colors and did all the acorn caps. And then this morning I moved over here, did the acorn caps and began the acorns. So I've got 2 of the acorns finished. I have 1 more to do. And then I'll move back over here and do the acorns. And by doing 1 color on both of them, by the time I finish, I should have 2 complete. 1 that I get to keep and 1 that I'll put in for the swap, and I'll finish them. Most of the time I finish them exactly the same way so that that way I don't feel jealous that I passed on one. I know that sounds silly to think about, but when you stitch something, you love it so much, sometimes it is hard to pass it on. Not that I don't love doing it, otherwise I wouldn't do the swaps. But that's my tip if you're doing a swap and you really love the pattern, do it at the same time, because I promise you, if you want to do it later, it could be a couple years before you get back to it. But if you do it at the same time, then you get them both done at the same time. 1 for you and 1 for your friend. All right, and then my next whip, I was working on a challenge, and when the paid project came, the challenge took the back burner and I didn't complete it. But I'm not giving up. I'm still gonna work on it. I just didn't make it in for the challenge that I was trying to do. I think it was through the magazine challenge group on Facebook. I had picked several. I did their acrostic and I was going to work on it, and when the month August came to the end of the month, I didn't meet my goals. So, but I wanted to start doing the Erica Michaels. I guess it's a sampler dictionary. No, a stitch dictionary, I guess is what it would be called. But each page is a different stitch all the way through the alphabet. And then there's a cover that you can buy too. And I did buy the cover. And so you do it on 28 count linen. Well, you could do it smaller, but that's what she called for. And then you just do various different colors of linen. So I'm working on the 4-sided stitch. And this is a picture. I had to hunt for a picture because when you go to Rainbow Gallery, which is where the free patterns are, all of the patterns are free except for the cover. That you have to buy at a store as an Erica Michaels Designs. But these ones were Rainbow Gallery freebies. If you go there, you can get them. The only thing that I found frustrating is the pattern does not include the name. So I'm guessing, and I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that when Erica Michaels designed them, she just designed them that way and put what stitch it was. But I think later, whoever stitched them actually did 1/1 and wrote the name of the stitch, which is what I want. So that way when I'm looking through the dictionary at the end, it has all the names of the stitches on the finishing, because I'm not going to have the pattern out so nobody will know what it's called. And I know if I'm not stitching that stitch all the time, I'm not going to remember the name of it. But this one's a 4-sided stitch, and if you get close, it's this stitch that's right here that looks like a little ladder stitch kind of. I haven't gotten to that on my piece yet, but here is my progress. This is a mystery linen. It came out in a grab bag, but I do know it's 28 count because I measured it. So this is where I'm at. So I did get the 1/1 stitching finished. I started the border and I started some of the F's. I plan to get back to this and finish it. I want to try to get at least 1 a month finished, but I think during my time off from school, like during Thanksgiving break or winter break, I might could get a few more done. Depends on what our family's up to. All right, and then the next whip I worked on was Snow Village. And Snow Village is by, I believe, Country Cottage Needleworks. Let me pull it out so I can show you. It is, right, I'm doing the whole design. And you can go to their website and you can print out what the whole design looks like. And so you have to buy all the little stitches separately. So a friend of mine, a sweet friend of mine, Missy, gifted me the set, and because she stitched it, and I was so excited. I got started. I've completed 2 and I'm on the 3rd one. So let me show you where I'm at. And I'm stitching this on 32 count cornflower linen. I think it's fiber on a whim. So here's where I'm at. So I've stitched the center piece that says Snow Village. Then I went on to, sorry, my string's hanging down. Then I went on to skates and sleds, completed that one. Then I decided I wanted to move up and do a snowman again. So this one is Snowflakes for Sale. So I'm about halfway done. I've got to finish the stand and then all the snowflakes, and then the tree needs its pine needles because right now it's just a stump. So I got kind of far though. I feel really good about getting almost two pieces finished in the time that I was working on it. And again, I do a 2-day rotation. So I think that's pretty good for 2 days. So I have that. And then my last whip that I want to share with you is in this beautiful bag made by the Bougie Stitchers, because we are doing this sale together along with the Disorderly Stitcher Nancy, and I'm hoping that lots more of you have joined in. If you haven't, please do so. It's not too late. I have a 2-day rotation, so it's going to take me a long time on this one. The hashtag is #EqualitySamplerSal. And we're doing the quality sampler. Here's the beautiful picture, and it's by Plum Street. And let me show you where I'm at. So my goal, now they're starting from the top left corner. I always stop at the I always start, I can't even talk. I always start at the bottom right corner. I've always done that. I even stitched the opposite direction too. I'm not sure why, I just started learning that way. And so my crosses cross the same as everybody else's, but I start in a different direction. So I wanted to get, when I started, one of the pots done, and I did. So, and I'm doing the border as I go. So here's the beautiful pot. There's one of these on either side of the design. And you can see I started the stem for the first plant. And then I'm trying to do, every time the pot called for the dark, it's also the same color as the border. So I was stitching a little bit here, then come over here. And my goal is to do that because borders that are plain like that are not as exciting to stitch. So if I can soften it by doing a little here and a little there, that's what I'll do. So I love how pretty the pot is though. It's gorgeous. It's like a green, it's called Caper, I believe is the color. And I think that's a pretty green. So we'll see where I get. It hasn't come up in my rotation for this month. This was towards the end of last month. So if you're so inclined, I would love for you to join us. Use the hashtag so I can see your progress. And feel free to message me about it too. I would love to chat with you over your progress on it. All right, so those are my whips. And so next is haul. All right, so I went to Grand Country Quilts. It's a store located in San Marcos here in California. And they're a quilt store, but they started carrying cross stitch. And now, if you ever are in California and you're available, the fourth Saturday of every month is going to be a stitch-in day. You can go there and stitch with all the wonderful stitchers that show up. And the only catch is it's $10 to stitch, or if you're gonna make a purchase, you can apply the $10 to that, and then it's free to stitch as long as you make a $10 or more purchase. So of course, I'm gonna purchase something. And they're starting to carry more. They finally got Classic Colorworks. So they have some weeks Dyeworks, and they got Classic Colorworks now. So I'm really excited about that because that's my favorite threads. And they've got lots more patterns too. And the stitching room is wonderful. There's lots of room for lots of people. And the last stitch in, we had such a great time. So if you're ever in the area and want to join us, I hope you do. All right, so what did I get? So first of all, I bought this one. I had never seen this pattern before, but it's by Scattered Seed Samplers. And it's Gatekeeper Pin Poke. And I love this. It has the crow there. And look at he's holding the keys because we know that crows love shiny things. And I have a really long old key that I picked up at an antique shop that I thought I could attach to it when I'm done. So I'm so excited to have this piece. And then next I got, oops, Scary Berry. I had been meaning to get this for so long by Erica Michaels. I see everybody stitch it and I kept saying I'm gonna get that one of these days. Here's what it looks like on the back. You get a better look at both sides. And I didn't get it. They had it, so I said, I'm gonna get it. So I did. And then I also picked up Lila Studios Season's Blessings. I really want to stitch the crow. I love this too, and I'll probably get it out maybe at Christmas time. But I went ahead and got a few of the Weeks die works for it that I didn't have that I knew I would need. So I can start him pretty quickly. Love him. All right, and then I got from Cobweb Corner, I wanted to join, Helen D is hosting a SAL, which I think it's starting up either at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. I'm not 100% sure. You'll have to check out Helen's video to find out the exact date. And I will put the hashtag down below when this video is over in my description box because I can't recall what she said her hashtag was going to be. But the piece is by Pedal Pusher and it's Freaky Faire Isle. And it's this bat that's stitched on black perforated paper. And so if you were following Helen, she partnered up with Cobweb Corner so that we could get this as a piece purchased from there. So Carla from Cobweb Corner had to order the black paper so that she could then put together some kits for everybody. So I did buy a bundle. I didn't buy the black perforated paper because I know myself. I saw the purple and the purple's beautiful. I will do a purple one, but according to Helen, they stitch fast. And I was just thinking it would look really cool in a really bright green or orange. So I want to make a set. So I went ahead and ordered, I think I got it from 123 Stitch, 14 count black perforated paper. And I want to say it came pretty quick and it comes with 2 sheets. So here's the purple floss that I did get. Oops, there's a pattern. Sorry. Here's the purple floss that I got for it. So if you haven't signed up to do it yet, you should join. I think it'll be fun. And I think these would look cute. And I want to make mine hang off of like a piece of garland or a lighted garland that I could put on my fireplace. I thought that would be cute. You know what else would look cute? If you hung them with some fish line, and I know that sounds funny, but it's clear, so that's why I would suggest it. Hang them from some fish line, and then if you don't run it on high, because it'll be cooler weather, you could hang them from your ceiling fan. So they'd be flying every time you turned it on. What do you think? Okay, I'm a kindergarten teacher and we hang everything from the ceiling. So keep that in mind when I suggest these things. All right, and then the last thing that I got was, I got my copy of the Halloween magazine. I was stalking Barnes & Nobles like every week, waiting for them to put it out. They finally put them out. So now I'll be stocking them again for the Christmas ornaments. I know a lot of people have already gotten them because of a subscription. I didn't renew my subscription, and until I do, I won't be getting it in the mail. So I'll be stocking Barnes & Nobles. Yes, I hang out there a lot. So I've got this one. I'm anxious to peek through and perhaps start stitching a few more ornaments for my Halloween tree. All right, so that was my haul, which brings me down to my giveaways. So last time I called 2 names and they didn't respond to an email. So if I call your name, I'm going to give it one more shot on these two, and then I'm going to introduce two new ones for this week. If the people do not claim these two this time around, then the next time I will then open it up to other people, but I think they'll claim it. So the first winner from the previous giveaway was Michelle. Her YouTube name is AZ_hippie_stitcher. And she won the Bent Creek Summer Row. So Michelle, if you will email me your address, and I know that you've mailed me things, but I don't know where your address is. So if you could email me your address, I'll get that out to you, Michelle. And then the next one was RETM's Quaker Mermaid, and the winner of that one was Kathy Coates. Again, Kathy, if you could please email me your address, I'll put it out in the mail for you. I hope you both claim them before next time. I really do. All right, and then for this week's, I was given an extra copy of Brenda Gervais' Jack-O-Lantern Jubilee booklet. I love this book. It has a lot of cute smalls. Here's the ones on the front, and you can see a couple more on the back. And I was given this, and I already have it, so I want to pass the other copy on because I haven't stitched mine yet. So if you're interested in this one, please use the keyword which in a sentence. Please do not just put the words. It's really fun if you put a sentence. It's more interesting to read. So please put it in a sentence, and then I'll ask you a question in just a moment. And I would like an answer to the question too. And then the other, so again, keyword which. Sometimes I get too chatty and I forget. All right, and the next one, if you're not a Halloween person, I'm giving away All About the Acorn by Lou Who Stitches. I finished this one, and it was a piece I did during an Acorns and Threads virtual retreat. And I know you can order it now, but I already finished mine, so I'm willing to pass it on. So if you're interested in this one, please use the keyword squirrel in a sentence. And then I'll get that, I'll pull your names and share them on this video in my next video. Okay, so I'll say your name on the video. I will not say it in the comments. If somebody tells you you are the winner, that is not me. I will say it in the video. So keep watching for that, and I will share that on my next video so that you can claim your prize. All right, so question that I want you to answer is there something that you're struggling with that you would like me to share? I did ask this before, but I'm asking for more because I've shared two that people have asked about. I have another one if I can get my husband to do the videotaping again. He didn't really enjoy that part, but he's a saint, so he did it. And then I've got to get him to do it one more time because one of the questions that came up was, I know that you can start your stitching on top of the fabric instead of going behind, but how do you finish on top? I did some practicing. I did it because I don't do that, but I have done it in the past. And it's totally personal preference. You can stitch over two on top and end on top, and it looks exactly the same. Over one's a little bit trickier. To me, it'll be a personal preference, and I will share both under and over for both with 2 strands or with 1 strand, and then I'll show you what they look like, and you can decide for yourself if that's something that you want to try. So I do have that in the works. I did share in my video today how I stitch. I stitch like this. So if you couldn't tell from the video, I rest my Q-snap on my wrist. Really, I'm not, and against my body. I don't really hold on to it, so I don't have any gripping issues, but I balance it there, and I stitch. I put my stitch down with my left hand, I grab it with my right, I push it back up with my right, and grab it with my left, and I stitch like this. If I were using a scroll frame, I would do the same thing, and for me, that makes me go faster. I can't stitch in hand. I get really bad cramps in my hands. Even when I was a lot younger, I tried that. I just can't do it. So that's how I stitch. Somebody asked if I would share like my favorite tools. I will do that in the future, but then those are the last few things that I had left to answer. So please, if there's something that you can ask that you would like to see, maybe you want to see me do something, or show you how I do something, I would be happy to do that. I look forward to it. I know somebody did ask if I would show how I finish my back of my pillows when I use a die cut, and I didn't have any pieces to finish to show that. So as soon as I finish my swaps, I will definitely videotape that to show you. But other than those 3 items, I don't have anything else that I can show you. So what would you like to see me share with you in a stitchy tip? And then use those keywords, which in a sentence, or squirrel in a sentence, or if you want to try for both, you can. I will only award you one, but you're welcome to try for both. So that's it, my friends. I've had fun visiting you. Until I see you next time, please be confident, be courageous, be creative, and please be kind. The world needs nicer people out there. Have a great couple weeks, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.